Hey guys, and welcome back to Car Podcast with Rashi. Oh my god, so this is episode 5. Okay, so before we get to the actual topic, I just wanted to talk about a bunch of things. This is something that I wanted to do for the longest time, and I know while it's on a smaller scale with just a bunch of my friends, there's no one here, by the way. I know for the last 3 episodes, there was always someone here, and for the last episode, Akanksha was right here and Devika was here. But the first episode I shot alone, all by myself, and I thought that since the last episode, I should shoot it alone and just talk to you all, have a little bit of a heart to heart conversation on a topic I feel is very important and extremely relevant in fact, any day and age, but I think more so spoken about in our generation. That is, for the last, I would say, maybe 5 to 7 years, it's been spoken about a lot more. But before that, just having a podcast talking about different topics was something that I really wanted to do. Someday, fingers crossed, I will maybe be able to do it on a much bigger scale, have more guests that are not just my friends but other people from different walks of life. Telling all their stories and just maybe so many more things. I'd love to do that one day, but for now, a small, cute little 5 episode podcast series was really fun to do. I honestly wanted to talk about a lot of topics I feel like I believed in. And I feel like if I really believed in those topics, then I think I would be able to have more deeper and more profound conversations on those topics. And I feel topics that my generation could really relate to. I was really confused as to what I would talk about today because I've spoken about friendships, I've spoken about social media, I've spoken about work life, office, the transformation of college to corporate life. I had Matangi, my friend, talking about how it's like to live in another city as an 18, 19, 20-year-old and grappling with university life away from your home. So this time I was like, what do I talk about? It'll be very wrong with me if I take complete credit for this podcast topic because honestly, I was talking to Mahika and I was like, what do I talk about? I really don't know what to talk about. And she was like, you know what, you can just talk about mental health because it's such a relevant and important topic, and it is spoken about a lot, but I feel like from my perspective, but I was like, it's such a broad topic. Mental health is a huge term and such a sensitive topic as well. So I was like, how do I talk about this in my podcast while maintaining the sensitivity of it, but yet it's so broad that exactly what do I cover in this? I had no idea, but I was like, you know what, let's just start the camera and talk about maybe mental health as a 20 something year old and how uh, this topic is so significant in our day-to-day life and how we all go through ups and downs mentally, and how you know you want to grapple it but sometimes you just can't. Since I'm also working now and I've newly just started working a couple of months ago, so does that also sometimes create pressure? Do we let that affect us mentally? Maybe like a whole bunch of things. When I start talking, I could just it'll go with the flow and I could just maybe cover so many things. But firstly, I feel mental health is such a sensitive topic. And before I say that, the reason I'm looking here and there is I don't know why. I feel like though I'm in my own car, I get a little conscious because I've parked in like a small gully near my near my house only. So I get a little conscious though it's like completely normal and safe to park here. There are many cars parked, but I don't know. But anyways, I'll sometimes look here and there on the road. But yeah, I mean, firstly, mental health is such an important conversation that I'm so glad and grateful people are having nowadays. And I honestly talk to so many of my friends. And initially when I would feel a little low or insecure, and I would think that maybe it's just me. But then when I would talk to my friends, and I would realize that it's not me. Everyone in their own way is dealing with certain issues mentally, and I feel sometimes it's not even the bigger things. I feel like it's the smaller things that just fog your mind up completely. And there are times when you just don't know how to deal with it. Like, what do you do? How do you overcome that? How do you grapple what happens in your mind? Because your mind can be your best friend and it can also be your worst enemy. And sometimes I question how can your own mind, like it's literally your own mind, trouble you so much. And sometimes there are maybe problems that happen in your surroundings, but there are some times that maybe there's really nothing much happening, but still the mind creates problems and it lets you get into that negative zone. And it's so much easier to fall into the negative trap than to actually be positive and to be happy. Like it's so funny that being negative is so much easier for the brain, but being positive actually takes a lot of effort. And that's strange. And I feel like that's something that I talk about with my friends, and I have these conversations with my friends, and we can all like relate to it so much. But then getting your mind back from that negative track to the positive track actually, I think, takes a little bit more effort for some people. For some people, it's just easy, naturally, their nature. But for some people, I think it takes time to get from your mind constantly thinking about the negative side of it to actually then going and thinking about the same issue with a positive sort of a mindset. And when I'm talking about mental health, because it's such a sensitive topic, I just want to say this, that I'm talking about very like generic small things that can also affect us, affect me, bother us, and just insecurities, anxiousness for the smallest things, how the mind can sometimes uh, take the smallest issues and make it much more big. And I feel sometimes we think that why are we feeling a certain way about a small topic? But maybe there are things that have happened with us for so many years that we did not deal with or we did not think of in that moment, that maybe cause insecurities over the years, and then suddenly they blast, and then in your 20s you just don't know why you're feeling a certain way maybe. And I'm so glad that actually people are opening up and talking about their insecurities, talking about how they do feel anxious sometimes, how they don't always feel well, and it's not always so pretty, and it's not always like rainbows and clouds and beautiful things. On social media, I feel like everything sometimes is shown in the most beautiful way, be it people's looks, you see people and you're like, oh my god, how do they have such beautiful clear skin all the time? How are their features so sharp? And then you look at yourself and maybe you're like, I don't look that way. Why don't I look that way? And that can cause insecurity. But I'm so glad that people are talking about the real side of it now. People sometimes might post the most beautiful parts of their lives, but behind the scenes, they're still feeling anxious sometimes, or not feeling good, or not feeling completely secure, because not everything is that picture perfect. And sometimes you look around and everything is just so lovely, but still your mind is creating problems for yourself unnecessarily sometimes, and you don't realize why that's happening, because there are so many good things around you. But why is this mind still thinking about random negative things and going in that zone instead of you just being completely happy? A lot of these conversations I just go and have with my mom, and I feel like sometimes too much availability of information and too much access to undue information is a major cause of that. It's very easy to say, okay, look at the bright side, okay, look at the nicer picture, and look at the good part of it, but it's very difficult to move from that to actually thinking about good things. Seeking therapy is such a relevant option. I think people are talking about it a lot more now, but it's still relatively a taboo. Like, not everyone is completely accepting of it. But then again, there are the smaller things as well. Like seeing the right kind of things, surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, constantly waking up and saying good things to yourself, positive things to yourself, forcing yourself to say the positive, right things, I feel are so important. Your mind will constantly tell you that you're not good, but to flip that and say that I'm the best every single day, it might feel fake for the first few days, and then you might just naturally start feeling that way. I think surrounding yourself with the right kind of people and the right energy is truly extremely important. I read somewhere that the top 5 people you surround yourself with on a daily basis really build who you are as a person, because you're talking to them so much on an almost daily basis. There's definitely a shift in how you feel as a person. At the same time, I understand that it's not always possible, for example, in the workplace, for you to be surrounded by the right kind of people always. That's not your choice, right? but to also maintain that level of distance then, and to maintain a boundary is very important, which again is all a learning process. Sorry, but I'm moving so much because the sunlight is so good here, but this is the better angle. But another thing is work. You spend 80% of your day in the office when you're working, right? That can have such an impact on how you feel, even for that matter, colleague. And that pressure can also really sometimes get to you. I've been hearing so many things, so many people not being able to grapple with that, and so many unfortunate incidents that have happened that I've read about. It, obviously makes you feel bad, because sometimes undue pressure can be put forward by the management. But at the same time, I think learning how to deal with it, learning how to draw your boundaries, and never let anything get too much to you is in our hands. When I see people who let it get to them a lot and their health get affected, or mentally they don't feel fine by it, I wish that something is done because of which people don't feel unnecessarily pressurized and feel like they are rewarded well for what work that they do. But yeah, I think honestly, sometimes feeling not good mentally about anything, comparing yourself, sometimes maybe not being surrounded by the right kind of people who bring you down. And it's fine to feel that way, but I think getting over it and constantly trying to improve yourself as a person, growing from that, it's a journey for everybody. And I'm glad I could speak about it. I think I spoke generically, specifically, and I hope you all liked hearing me. And I was alone this time, so had to carry the conversation alone. I wanted to carry this conversation alone, honestly. But I hope you'll enjoyed watching this series. Oh my god, this is the end to my 5 episode series, but it was honestly so much fun. Now back to my normal regular vlogs, I miss doing this. I miss talking about topics. I miss keeping the camera like this in my car and just talking and talking and talking about different topics. But hopefully I'll do this again soon. It was so much fun. That's it. I don't want to stop talking though, because it's so much fun to talk, and it's always fun to talk your heart out. Yeah, here's to many more conversation. Here's to catching good sunlight, and yeah, that's it for my small little car podcast series. Hope to be back again with more conversations. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. Bye, like, share, and subscribe.